Listen. I already see that Eagle Fangs in the chat. We already got our miserable Jets, but for once, I'm not actually wearing the paper bag. I apologize. Now I got my camera on, but welcome back to the Big Blue in the Bronx reunion, everybody. This is a reunion of the Once Boys of the Big Apple podcast that was hosted on the Big Blue in the Bronx channel. I see Jacob's already in the chat as well. We ran the show from in 22 and 23, but also, Donald's been with us. We're friends, and we joined him on Chronicles. We joined him on one of the more recent Yankifieds. But yeah, we're here too because it's interesting, right? You guys beat the Eagles last week. You are all high hype and all high and mighty, and rightfully so. You haven't beat the Eagles in a meaningful game like a couple of long years. But then you're like, okay, if we beat the Broncos, I shouldn't say we. I'm not a Giant fan. If you guys beat the Broncos, then you're 3-4. You're right in the thick of things. You're really in contention with a rookie quarterback. But the Giants they didn't just lose. They gave up 22 unanswered points in the fourth quarter. They gave up 33 points in the fourth quarter alone. And they lost. They were up as much as 18 points. And they lost 33-32 in part to their terrible regime. I was almost going to say something ridiculous, but terrible regime and their gimmick of a kicker. So which one of you paper bags, whether it's Alex or Donald, I see Alex has the raised hand, Alex uniting as his old name, Big Blue in the Bronx. Alex, tell us how you feel as if this was your channel. I mean, it is, but take us back. Take us back.
Well, if you could hear me under this.
Yes.
Justin Bieber had a song called Never Say Never. And, we're here because it's not just never say never to come back. It's never say never that the Giants blew a 19-point fucking lead. I'm done wearing this. I'm done. I was suffocating myself. You know what? Ron's right. Shout out to everybody in the chat. It's been a while. I was obviously on Crons with Donald once the Yankees collapsed. It's funny. Before I get into Donald's first thoughts, about a week ago, we were having discussions about a reunion because the Yankees had just lost, right? So we had that. And then I'm like, you know what? If the Giants get their asses beat on Thursday Night Football against the Eagles, we're just gonna light these teams on fire. So that didn't happen. We had some week of false hope, and shouts to Cop Hizzle. I stayed at his house. We went out to this nice place in Kentucky, and we also watched the Giants win. I was a part of his post game, and now we get this. And today, the Broncos coming into the season, I said the Giants were going to beat them. And, even if we came out with a loss, I was talking to Luca earlier today. I said, if we came out with a loss, okay, all right. If it's like a blowout loss, people need to have their heads rolling. But Luca, before I get to Donald's thoughts, right? The second paper bag is the conversation. What was that statistic that teams are like 1,001, something like that, like 1,062-1?
So the statistic, I'm obviously sharing stuff out right now. The statistic is with 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, teams were 1,062-0. Not 500, not 600, not 400. 1,062-0 when they're up 18 points with 6 minutes or so to go. The Giants just became the first team to lose, so it's now 1,062-1.
And Luca, what did I say to you? What did I say to you when they went up with that Tyrone Tracy touchdown? I said, dude, UTC literally won in the same fashion yesterday.
Yes.
They beat Eastern Tennessee University, which is a rivalry game. 17 points down, about 7 to 10 minutes left in the game, and they won a rivalry game. And then here, we witnessed the same thing happen, but to my demise. That's where I'm going to bring Donald in, the second paper bag in our conversation. Donald, take it away.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I'm in pain right now. That was one of the worst things I've ever witnessed in my life. I don't know how much more I can put up with that. I don't know how much more pain I can endure.
Did you guys hear? I apologize. Did you guys hear about Brian Burns?
He's in a
Yes.
walking boot. Yeah.
He's in a walking.
No, but I saw him ranting about the fact that they dropped 8 in coverage in the last 30 seconds. So that's a real commentary on the worst defensive coordinator in Giants history, Shane Bowen. He is so bad. Let's be fair. Like, he needs to be fired right now. He needs to be fired right now. Brian Burns is having an outrageously good season right now. He's having a phenomenal season. And if he's, he's basically the king of your defense. If he's calling out what they're doing, if he's calling out what the defensive coordinator's doing, then there's no coming back from that. Bowen needs to be fired right now. There has to be something, man. Like, you can't lose like that. You can't lose like that and not have somebody take the fall. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody has to take the fucking fall for that. In fact, multiple people need to take the fall for that. I mean, McTominay is the worst thing to happen to Ireland since, like, the potato famine.
Yeah.
And I mean, Banks is an abysmal coordinator, a coordinator at cornerback. He might as well be the coordinator. And Shane Bowen is the worst coordinator I've ever known. Watching the Giants for multiple decades, he's the worst by far. Not close. He's on another level. I'm completely broken. What can you do? I mean, being a Giants fan right now is just torture, and it's like they tease you. The worst thing about what they do is they tease you. You know, they get you excited. That's what they do. That's how it hurts more. Like, if the Giants were getting blown out every week, like they were prior to Jackson Dart coming in, then it was like, it'd be all right. You get used to it. But this is just like they set you up just to torture you. Like that Cowboys loss, or like this loss, or it's very similar to that season where Eli was overcoming the worst defense in Giants history. Remember that? And we were getting done by heartbreaking losses to the Jets and the Patriots and all that stuff, and that was torture for me. And Gano hit like a fucking 700-foot fucking field goal to crush us to the second left for Carolina. I remember that one. But that's what the Giants do to you. It's like, I don't know whether it's like God is laughing at us now. It's like God gave you 2 championships and now you have to repay it with torture for the next decade. I think that's what it is now, because it's just torture. It's just constant torture. You set you up, you get excited, and then boom, torture. It's just hard to do, man. It's hard to do. The only good thing I will say is that we've got ourselves a franchise quarterback. I love Jackson Dart. I'm all in on this guy. I love this kid. I think he's freaking incredible. I think he's got balls. He's got heart. He's got determination. He's smart. He's a really good quarterback. There's everything to love. The only thing I'm worried about is what the Giants will do to him, because you saw how crushed he was by that loss, because the Giants sabotaged him again, just like they sabotaged latter Eli. This is what the Giants do. They sabotage your franchise quarterback. I don't know how we go from here.
So to piggyback off of Donald, and I was having a conversation with one of my friends, Miz, and we were kind of like disagreeing a little bit, because he sees more of the long game picture, and I'm like more pissed off. And I saw Jacob's comment again. Shouts everybody in the chat. Sub up to Donald's channel, as Jacob says. This is Pinch Drop Chronicles. He does Pinstripe Chronicles and obviously
Also,
Yankified podcast. Sorry,
also, I want to do a quick shameless plug as well.
yeah,
Just
him
for
too.
my fellow Jet fans in the chat, like Armand and Eagle Fang, there will be no Jets fan therapy session tomorrow because tomorrow night is my Knicks channel's season preview show. We're going to be having Dylan Backer from Empire Sports Media Fireside Knicks. I've done a few collabs with him and Lee Escobedo of the Nick of Time show. He also does some good writing as well. But also in addition to that, Wednesday night, which is the hope for all us New Yorkers and New York sports fans, it'll be 7 o'clock. Me and Donald will have the call for Knicks Cavaliers. So if there's one team to save us in New York, I apologize. It's the Knicks.
Yeah. And Jacob had a point that said something along the lines of, well, it's an evaluation year and that. And I understand that. I didn't have high expectations coming into this year. I think I said 6-7 wins is probably where the Giants will land. It doesn't excuse a 19-point drop. Like, that's not really towards Jacob's point, but it was towards my point. Again, I was having a conversation with my friend. He's like, well, the Giants are a young team and they have a young nucleus. And I'm like, that doesn't give anyone an excuse to drop 19 points. Like, it's literally historically one of the worst collapses I think I've ever seen a team take. And the Giants should absolutely not go out there and get a weapon this week. Don't do it. Please. Don't do this Leonard Williams 2019 nonsense. Like me and Donald were talking earlier in the week. We're like, well, should the Giants get Waddle? Should the Giants get Olave? Don't get anyone. No. Save your draft picks. You don't have a third next year. Don't. Why would Waddle want to come here? Don't get all this. Donald, if you want to take that before I go ham on this regime for having a gimmick as a kicker.
That fucking kicker, man. That kicker is. He's not only is he not an NFL kicker. He's not even a kicker. He's a freaking joke. He's a saboteur. He is useless. He offers nothing. It's like you're playing without a kicker. Like, he offers you nothing. He can't kick extra points.
Donald, I'm sorry to interrupt. You know what's sad? You notice every kickoff, Jamie Gillen is kicking it off, not McAtomney.
I know.
This dude's been in the NFL for 2 fucking seasons, and he can't kick off? Why is he on the practice squad? This is 2 years in a row the Giants have just lined themselves up with this nonsense. Last year against the Washington Commanders, you have no kicker. Graham Gano, he gets whatever that situation was. I don't want to remember it because my brain is going to get fried. And then you come into this season. Graham Gano is 30,000 years old. He is a fossil on this team. He's a fossil. He is a fossil kicker. You got these other teams like the Carolina Panthers, who ideally enough played the Jets today. They got Ryan Fitzgerald. He's making kicks. Meanwhile, you could save $3 million by cutting Graham Gano. What did they do? They put him on IR. How does that save you money? So now you got to back contracts up the fucking wazoo, Paulson Adebo, and Javon Holland this week. What does that do for us long term? And then you bring Younghoe Koo. You know what's worse, Donald? Is that you bring Younghoe Koo from the Falcons, and this is me getting pissed off because I'm just realizing all this stuff now. You bring Koo from the Falcons, and he's not good enough to be the kicker on fucking game day.
Exactly. You're basically playing without a kicker. You can't play for a field goal because he can't hit a field goal. You can't even play for an extra point because he can't kick an extra freaking point. What use is he? He can't do kickoffs. So he doesn't do kickoffs. He doesn't do extra points. He can't kick field goals. What the fuck does he do? What the fuck does he do? What does he get paid for? Why the fuck did he come here? Why the fuck did you promote him? If you can't trust him to kick an extra point, a field goal, or a freaking kickoff,
What's his use?
point does he serve? He sabotaged us, 2, 3, 4 fucking points.
This is
The
3
Giants
years.
win the game. The Giants win the game. If he could just kick 2 extra fucking points. The Giants don't lose if he can kick 1 extra fucking point. You useless piece of shit. What purpose does he serve? And what the fuck is Joe Shane doing?
Donald, this is 3 years of this shit. This is 3 years of this shit. Against the Jets, when Tommy DeVito was around and they didn't let him pass the ball, right? The dude on a bad thigh goes out and kicks 4th and 2. He misses two field goal opportunities, 2 of them, and the coach can't answer for it. And then they had to bring in 90-year-old Mason Crosby in, right? And then last year we saw what happened with no kicker, and then they put him on AR. And Donald, you remember this one? Remember when they had 2 kickers on the roster? They had Cade York and Greg Joseph last year. You remember those roster gymnastics that Joe Shane was playing? How many kickers do we have last year? And that's not good enough to sit here and replace Graham Gano? You're literally scrapping. You're scrapping to find a fucking replacement, and then you don't end up replacing him when it's $3 million to your savings? Are you fucking shitting me?
I want to know what Koo is doing in practice for him to lose the job to the Leprechaun. What is he doing in practice to lose to Mac Tammany, who have already explained can't kick extra points, can't kick field goals, and can't do kickoffs? What the fuck is Koo doing in practice to lose to this guy? What is he doing? Shoving the ball up his ass?
He's kicking the ball backwards. He's kicking
What
the ball
is he
backwards.
What is he doing? Is he shoving the ball up his ass and farting it out? Like, how is he losing in practice to this moron?
And the problem with that, Donald, is if he's so bad in practice that he can't beat this balloon in practice, why is he on the practice squad?
This is a horrible look for that in freaking international development
Pathway program.
What an awful look. It's a terrible look. Hey, look, guys. I mean, actually, it could be good because now it just shows that anybody sitting at home could be like, hey, look, guys, you could kick for the New York Giants.
Get somebody in Lithuania.
Some Lithuanian dude.
Somebody, some Latvian dude.
They basically got a crack addict from Ireland to kick for the Giants. You can fucking find anybody.
I just don't understand. Donald, we're not talking about getting the salary cap in order. We're not talking about brain surgery. We're talking about finding a fucking kicker.
It's a kicker. My voice going higher. It's a fucking kicker. How hard can it be to find a kicker that can kick for 20 yards? That's all I'm asking you to do. Dude, like, I remember when you guys used to do, like, you remember when you guys kicked through a post a couple times? I saw a video.
Yeah. I made it.
You made it. You can fucking make it. Our professional kicker can't kick 20 yards.
Awful.
Oh, fuck. And also, Joe Shane is like not exempt from this, man, because he's had us play a roster man short. He's been having us play a guy short at times. Instead of the full 53, he's been having 52, 51. We've gone into game day without a kicker. We've done this a couple years now, where Gano gets hurt and then we get fucked because we don't have anybody that can kick, and it costs us a game because we don't have it. We have no special teams. And by the way, Jim Gillen is an awful freaking punter. I'm sorry, he is. He sucks. He's not. He can only do 40 yards. Like, we have no special teams. We've got no kicking game. It's outrageous. What is this obsession they have with kickers from the United Kingdom and punters from the UK? They're awful.
Yeah. And it's just, I find it interesting. They got Graham Gano when he was basically out of his prime. Like, okay, Dave Gettleman, he signed him after Chandler Catanzaro was pretty much, on his way out. And then he was good for about 2 years. And then they re-signed him in 2022. And then I could be wrong, Donald. If I am, someone do the research. They gave him a contract extension sometime in the last 2 years or the last 3 years. I know they did because that's why he's still on this roster. But you know what pisses me off, Donald? You know how we talk about Brian Cashman? We talk about how he wants to justify his signings and all these different moves he makes. You know how we talk about that? Please tell me, other than last week, and there was part of an excuse for this week, why Deontay Banks still sees the football field on defense.
God. Well,
This dude sucks.
He only saw the football field because all our main corners got hurt. Obviously, Debo got hurt, and then Banks had to come in, and he can't see the field. Like he has no idea what's going on. He always gets lost. Like he does nothing. He can't play the ball. He can't read anything. He gets beaten off the first step like that. Like he offers nothing, and he's stupid too. He's really stupid.
You know what's funny is he wanted a shit ton of money from Jackson Dart for the number 2. Like, here's my question, bro. Who the fuck are you? It's literally that question. Who are you, dude?
We should have fucking cut him in order just for Dart to take that number 2 jersey.
Dude. 3, okay. Let's talk about the last 3 first-round corners the Giants have drafted. Eli Apple, DeAndre Baker, and Deontay Banks, right?
Good Lord.
Eli Apple, at least Dave Gettleman got a 4th. He got a 4th and a 6th for Eli Apple. That's considered a steal.
Yeah.
And then he goes and drafts DeAndre Baker, who troublemaker by what is perceived as standards.
Awful.
And he didn't even make it to his second year, and that left the Giants in a sputtering hole.
Yep.
But we knew this dude sucked last year. We knew, dude, his first 3 games, right? He let Justin Jefferson own him. Okay, it's Justin Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
And then the dude, when I was in Cleveland with Sox, after Eric Gray, that was a great draft pick, by the way. He is a ghost. Same with Josh Zudu. He fumbles the ball, and then Deshaun Watson, who up to his injury was one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL, just throws a 50-50, and Deontay Banks doesn't know where the ball is, and Amari Cooper catches it, and he owns him. He owns him. Dude, we knew this guy sucked last year. I talked about it. People said, oh, he's young. He's got to fit the system. No, the player sucks, and the system sucks. And how I may have brought it up before.
I don't even know what our system is. Could you tell me what Shane Bone's system is?
Donald, your guess is as good as mine.
What is it?
It's one thing. You brought it up partially. You brought it up partially at the beginning, where Brian Burns was pissed about 8 in coverage and 3 rushing the passer. Usually you would expect the secondary to make a stop or something. Usually 8 in secondary kind of gives you the defense an advantage. No, the defense did not have an advantage. Here's the problem also as well. I want to like Drew Phillips, but he's so hot and cold, it's not even funny.
He's a big hitter, and I think he's pretty good in zone situations, but man coverage, he makes a lot of mistakes. He makes a ton of mistakes, and I don't know how much we could like live with that. Cordell Flott surprised me. He's actually one of the more stable corners that we have.
Yeah,
but
he was good. I can't complain.
Drew Phillips, like he'll do something spectacular, like a big hit, tackle for a loss. He'll be like, "Oh shit, yeah," maybe pop up with a turnover, but he gives up a lot. I mean, he's getting found out this year. Like he had a really good year last year, but he's getting found out a lot this year.
Oh yeah, they're targeting.
Yeah, he's definitely getting found out, especially in one-on-one situation. He's getting cooked a few times, but it's nowhere near to the level that Banks is. I would be really fascinated to see Banks's coverage grades. What's his PFF and how many touchdowns?
I'll be sure. I got a good point. Here. Look, I see what Armin's saying. I see what Miz is saying. Here's the problem, right? I mean, the Jets, no one's saying that they're good. Armin doesn't say that they're good. I'm not saying they're good. Luka doesn't say that they're good. He rants on them pretty much every week. But like the Giants turning a corner, I understand it's an evaluation year, and this is what me and him were talking about on the phone. It's not like the results have to be the results. Like this is a game the Giants have to come out of and win.
Yeah.
Like if it's just okay, that team's better. Donald, let me say something right now. Denver's not much better. Bo Nix is not fucking Peyton Manning. He's not. He first, second, and third quarter Bo Nix was not fourth quarter Bo Nix.
Dude, all you had to do was shut down the slant game and the quick game, and he was a non-factor. But the Giants once again got scared. That's the story of the Giants. Because it was the same thing with the Cowboys game, and it's very much the same story with this one. They get scared. They have a lead, and they get scared. They shit themselves. And it starts with Shane Bowen and Brian Dable. We haven't mentioned Brian Dable yet.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the Giants are a confounding team, and they find ways to lose, and that's on the coaching staff. They find ways to lose. They find ways to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, but not just that. They are finding historic ways to lose now. The way they lost in that Cowboys game was nigh on historic. It was a historic meltdown. And then to do it and actually re-up themselves and do one better and make it even more historic how horrible that loss was against the Broncos. I mean, the coaching staff can't survive that. They did that to themselves. You can't have a 3-score lead. You can't be pitching a shutout basically with like 6 minutes left in the game and then give up 33 points. That doesn't happen in professional football. No. I don't even think that would happen in college.
No.
33 points in like a handful of minutes? You have to be actively giving the game away to do that.
You know what the problem is? Like, after last week, I didn't give shit to Brian Dable because I'm like, okay, he won a game. That was a very good win. I can't complain about that. But when you sit and look, and I said to Luka, as I said at the beginning of the stream, I said, if the Giants lose this one in a close game, I'm not going to want him fired. I am not going to want him fired. I'm not going to want the coaching staff fired because, you lose. But if you lose it like convincingly, like maybe like a blowout, then I will change my mind. This I didn't expect, and I don't think anyone in the world expected it. But the problem is this. I get it. He picked Jackson Dart. That's great. He picked Cam Scatterbo. The offense looks functionable, right?
Yeah.
When you combine, and you can't, and let's put this on a platter here, folks. You cannot erase the last 2 years. You cannot erase the historic lows they were at the last 2 years. I'm sorry. That's a part of Brian Dable's resume. We can't just pick and choose what's good, what's bad. I'm just saying that right now. But if we're gonna combine all these positives, he won against the Eagles, like some would say, but he can't manufacture a kicker, and he can't have his team well prepared enough to sit here and keep a 19-point lead. And mind you, listen, I know that people will say, well, the players are bad, or the players are, the ones making the tackles or the missed tackles, right? But that goes under their coaching. That goes under Joe Shane's roster management, right? And I understand there's been cases, and I want to get to Luka because I know he's been gone for a little bit, and I also do want to get some comments. But like, don't give me like these other situations, like Jason Litt becoming a better GM with the Bucks. Like, we've gone, and I understand this. I will say this year looks better than last year, but I can't for sure say that because we had 2 wins. Again, we're playing closer, but no, I can't take a meaningless. I'm sorry, I can't take a moral victory in year 4. I'm not saying you have to win 10 games, but the way they lost this game should piss a lot of people off, Luka.
Great analysis on your point. And I see that Miz is was going at Armin because Armin said both Giants and Jets defense, their systems or the way they play defense is shit. May I say, and this has nothing to do with my team. Neither team is good. Neither team is
absolutely.
Good. Neither team is good. I know, Alex, you're probably saying it, Donald's probably saying it, but like, let's reevaluate this, right? I know Miz is probably going to make the point, say, hey, Dable's not going anywhere because, he's growing with Dart, this, that, and the third. But if the Giants, because here's the thing, right? The Giants aren't competent right now, obviously. We all know that. Dart's learning. That's going to happen. He's the rookie quarterback. He's going to learn. Cam Scatterbo is going to learn. The defense sucks. They have talent. But the problem is the defensive coordinator and the system that they put in place. And who hired that defensive coordinator? The head coach.
After he let go of Wink Martindale, which and Donald fucking screamed at.
And then he exploded at Shane Bowen on the sidelines. Well, you're also the head coach, by the way. So you could take over play calls and say, hey, you know what? Scrap that. That's not going to work. You're going to do this if you want to be a so-called CEO head coach, because Kafka calls the offense, Bowen calls the defense. So you could be a head coach and do that instead of just yelling at your defensive coordinator. Like, you don't completely abandon your role as head coach. But I know Miz is talking about the big picture, but here's the thing. You guys recognized these problems last year with lesser talent, right? You guys I remember week 1, right? Shane Bowen was the problem last year. You and Donald, and eventually when we had a core four, I guess you call it, Rob, was on here as well. We were talking about the Giants in the season. Shane Bowen was a problem. The problem with the defense, obviously, is not the players. Obviously, there are some players and the management of guys like Deonte Banks, who still gets to impose his presence on this team. He's been terrible. I mean, we could go through it, but the defense really doesn't have a talent issue. Sure, there's little things, but defense, I know I'm going in circles here. Defensive coordinator, but you got the problem is, I'll say it in summary, the issues that you guys have this year were the same issues you had last year. And I'm not trying to play the fallacy, the predetermined outcome, or whatever. You guys could have fired this regime last year. You could have. But here's the dangerous part. You let them draft a quarterback. And I'm not saying you have to, but it would be malfeasance. I'm not going to say it would be malfeasance because we know Dable's incompetent. We know Shane's incompetent. You don't want a quarterback playing 2 systems in 2 years. That's the issue. The Giants could have easily outdone that, said, hey, you know what? We're going to fire this regime last year, and then this year we're going to pick a new coach, and they could grow together with their quarterback so we don't have a la Tennessee Titans or Sam Darnold with Todd Bowles having 2 systems in 2 years. Like Sam Darnold, played well at the end of his 2018 rookie season. Here's the problem, though. The head coach and the defense were terrible. So that's why they had to do away with that. So, like, I get, Mrs. point about growing year and whatnot, but you know what? You're losing games because of coaching. That's the issue. And you could say, oh, well, Jackson Dart and Cam rock with Brian Dable. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't. The NFL is a coaching league. If you're getting out schemed day in and day out and you're not making adjustments, you are incompetent and you are set up to fail. Dodal mentioned, Brian Burns going off about the eight man of the secondary, the 3-man rush. That's coaching. That is coaching. It's not like Shane Bowen had this great track record. He came in with flaws. The Giants arguably settled on Bowen as a defensive coordinator because of what happened with Wink and all of that. Because here, let me tell you something right now. If Brian Dable fires Shane Bowen tomorrow, he has no more scapegoats. He has none.
So
he's also throwing chum.
There's a few things to pick up on. Here's a reason to be worried. Normally in a rookie year, your quarterback has ups and downs, and you live with the downs. You know what I'm saying? So obviously the Saints game was a down. Okay? But let's be honest, 99% of Dart's appearances so far have been ups. It's been great. Like, he mauled the Eagles, he mauled the Broncos, and he mauled the Chargers. He has been fantastic. And to go and face a fantastic defense in Denver, with 99% of the stadium screaming for the Denver Broncos. It's a loud stadium, incredibly intimidating atmosphere, and Dart gives you 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns. He builds you up a 19-point lead without any receivers. He's got 1 receiver in Wan'Dale Robinson. That was it. Then he was making use of tight ends. Only one of those tight ends is actually good, and that's Bellinger. And he managed to do that against a very good defense. And he gets you 4 touchdowns, including a drive with 30 seconds left, and scoring the go-ahead touchdown with 30 seconds left. You did that, and you still lost. That's a reason to be concerned, because if you are losing games where for about 3.5 quarters you play perfect football and you still lose, that's a worry, because there's going to be plenty of weeks where we're going to get roasted. We need to take advantage of these games where your quarterback is playing great. But the thing was, he was great, and the defense sabotaged him. The defensive coordinator sabotaged him. The kicker sabotaged him. Dart looked crestfallen watching the defense give that back. Crestfallen. You can't keep doing that, man. You can't keep doing that. I would have preferred... I thought we were going to lose this game. I genuinely did. I didn't think we were going to beat the Broncos. I would have preferred any other scenario than the Giants your quarterback playing a perfect game up until the last 5 minutes. And then, I don't want to hear about, because I've seen some people giving Dart some shit for that one turnover. For me, that was a terrible play call. The Broncos were calling timeout. There was 1 timeout left. It was 3rd down. What you do is run the ball and force the Broncos to call that last timeout. That's what you do. Then you punt and have them go up the field. But they put too much on Dart, and obviously he shouldn't have made that throw, but he's a rookie. It's okay. You make mistakes, that's fine. But I can live with mistakes from a rookie quarterback, but I can't live with mistakes from bad coaching. I can't live with a kicker that shouldn't be in the league. I just can't do that. I can't accept that. And the Giants wasted a golden opportunity to do something special, and they blew it. And now we're staring into an abyss. We're 2-5, and now I'm genuinely worried because we have nothing to play for. now, other than develop your quarterback. But we know the way that Dart plays. He is a swashbuckling attitude where he's going to throw his body into anything and everything. And I'm worried he's going to get hurt during a lot of meaningless games where we're going to be playing for a top 10 pick. And it's heartbreaking because he's freaking fantastic. So there's reasons to be positive. We've got ourselves a franchise quarterback, but we blew something really, really special here.
Yeah. No, I agree. There was a comment, and also, Luca, if you want to get to some comments before we continue our discussion.
Absolutely.
There was a comment. It was a Miz and Mac were talking in regards to, the Giants were outcoached towards the end, and Miz said we're not. I would agree with Donald's point that I think you should have ran the ball 3rd down and 5. One timeout left, and the fact that once again you sent 8 in the secondary with no real threat to the passer. And then Bo Nix, we had all the time in the world. So, and I see some Broncos fans in here. You guys won. What can I say? You guys won.
Yeah.
But I think before Luca gets the comments, I think the problem is you have to balance the good with the bad. And there's a lot of bad. And I don't know if it'll. And even if you say, okay, there's more bad than good, it's still a contaminated pool. Because guess what? You let them pick their quarterback, and the quarterback, honestly, he looks good. For right now, he looks good. That's a rookie mistake. And I don't think he looked great on that last drive. I know, obviously, there was the Sean Payton penalty and this and that and all that stuff, but listen.
I think that I didn't like the play calling in that last drive. We kind of got away with it because, we weren't even trying to do anything creative. We didn't get the run game going. We were just heaving it and hoping. There was not really much creativity in the play calling. Once again, Kafka's a disgrace. Didn't get Scatterbo involved. Didn't try and get Tracy involved. They just started launching it down the field. The only chance they genuinely had was when Hyatt beat his man and Dart slightly overthrew him by maybe a foot. That was really about it. The rest was some really bad play calling. Dart did look a little bit nervous, but on that 4th down in 19, we had no chance, and he managed to complete a pass. Okay, it was maybe a half yard short, but we did get the penalty and all that stuff. But that was a nice play. That was a tough throw. And he stood strong and he made a good throw. And he overcame some bad play calling. He had no receivers. And to do that against a great defense, and the defense knew exactly what was going on, and still the Giants managed to score a touchdown on that, that's freaking fantastic. You just can't lose that game. And they did because their defensive coordinator sabotaged them, going 8 in coverage. But that's what I'm saying. The Giants' defense shit themselves whenever the Giants have a lead. They shit themselves. They panic. And they get ultra conservative. They did it in the Cowboys game, and it was maddening. And then they've upped it now to even more maddening degrees in this one. How do you give up 33 points in a handful of minutes? How? It was outrageous. There was no coverage. Just putting everyone 8 men in coverage. There was no pass rush. You gave Bo Nix all the time in the world. All the time in the world. And what about all the missed tackles? Remember when they thought that Evan Engram was going to go out?
Oh, yeah.
And they just went, oh, actually, you know what? On you go. Have a free run for 20 yards. Disgraceful.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll say one more thing before Luca gets to a few comments. Jude McAtamney, by the way, folks, was not the starting kicker at Rutgers. He was the backup. And his 2022 year, I think it was, I want to say 2022, he was 12 of 18 on his kicks, 2023, he was 0 for 1. That's who the Giants have as their starting kicker.
He wasn't even there. He wasn't Rutgers. He wasn't even kicking for Rutgers.
So, that's my piece on that, Luca.
All right, so we're going to get a couple comments. Broncos fan here. The only reason the Giants lost is the altitude. The Giants were gassed in the fourth quarter, but I'll take the win. But the Giants are putting teams on notice. A little glass half full take here from a Broncos fan. What's up? To Broncos, all Broncos country, must I say, they're flying into the 2U Giant fans and me, the Jet fan. Scat must have been banged up. It's like they forgot that Tracy had some 39-yard runs last year. Broncos country.
He is not. I don't think he looks the same, in my opinion. I think because you notice. I mean, he had a great touchdown run. I'm not gonna crap all over that, but like you noticed the second half of last year, he was not the same. He was not the same running back. I don't know what it was, but he was not the same.
Well, I mean, he does have that shoulder injury. He does have the shoulder thing on his there. But I mean, I was pretty happy with that touchdown. But the Giants, didn't utilize him after that. Really,
no, they didn't capitalize.
They got away from it. It was weird. They just find ways to lose, and that is a sign of bad coaching. Really bad coaching. And we are in a really tough spot now because we have drafted our franchise quarterback. We have drafted our franchise running back. Right? Those are incredibly positive things, right? Do you know what? I didn't like the Burns trade at the time. I thought that was maybe an overpay. God damn, he's freaking fantastic. He could be on course for like 17, 18 sacks this year or something like that if he stays healthy. He's on 9 already. He's been great. And you have these positives, right? These wins, and, Dable is doing good work with Dart. There's no doubt about it. He is doing good work with Dart. Those are W's there. But the problem is we're 2-5. The problem is Dable loses his freaking mind. He literally loses his freaking mind. He's got no composure down the stretch in games. He completely loses it. The problem is we have no leadership at defensive coordinator. He's a fucking idiot. We don't have a scheme. And it's going to be – we're in a real tough spot now because we will have a – I mean, I don't think we're going to get 7 wins this year now. 2-5. It's a tough schedule. It's going to be a tough year. Are you going to bring back Shane after that? I mean, we don't even have a kicker. He's the reason why we don't have at least a couple more wins right now, right? Because of our lack of kicking game. How much more are we going to do this? Like, what I'm trying to say is, yeah, we definitely need a new coach, and I think we do need a new regime. But then you're also kind of kicking Dart in the face because, he probably wants to have some continuity. Oh God, I don't know what we're going to do. But can you really honestly say we win 6 games this year? Can you really honestly roll it back with this staff, which has been a disaster for the most part, apart from the first year? I don't know how you can do that.
I have a question, but I will let Lucas have his say and then a couple of comments. It's kind of a long-term question, but
I think you guys bring up great points. I think you have some great foresight as well. I think, and I'm going to get to a few comments. I'll explain my thoughts. The good thing is having the quarterback because this upcoming draft class is crap. Well, the upcoming draft class, I could speak for that because I'm obviously a Jet fan. We're probably going to select a quarterback next year. There's a lot of new guys. I mean, Dante Moore, you really didn't know of this year. Fernando Mendoza, some people knew, but not a lot. You obviously know Nussmeier. You obviously people know John Mateer now. Archie Manning's not coming out for a while.
Ty Simpson,
me and my coworker, who's a big Alabama fan, were just talking about this morning. But I think there's talent there. There's no consensus. Number one, though, Dable is a curse. All that talent that never works. Dropping 8 into coverage. Yeah. Miz, look at the back end of the season. We'll finish strong. Should have won 4 different ways, but he says still got us winning 7. And I'll tell you this is where I disagree with Miz, and I agree with Donald. Brian Dable is the head coach. And Miz, I heard his conversation with my brother, and, Miz is seeing the glass half full. Donald, I think, is seeing the glass half empty, which is nothing wrong with that. But I'm going to tell you this. Let's just say you go into next year with Dable and Jackson Dart. Fine. And you just say, okay, expectation is playoffs or playoff contender. What if coaching costs you those playoff games potentially, or those games that you could win going into the playoffs?
It's already cost these.
He's already cost you a couple of games. He's already cost you. And and you guys have, once again, you guys have great foresight on this. The problem is you've seen these coaching issues before. So it's not like, oh, it's just out of nowhere. If you go into next season, this is the risk with Jackson Dart and Brian Dable. Listen, Dart obviously needs to grow as a quarterback. I get the continuity aspect. But if you go into next year and Dart balls his ass off, right, and you still have the same issues defensively, and, so on and so forth, the same issues that have been corrupting you guys cost you a potential playoff spot, you're going to want everybody's head on a pike. And then you could have said, hey, that should have been done a year earlier or 2 years earlier. So it's about having foresight at the end of the day. I get the glass half full and glass half empty stuff, but Broncos, Jackson Willoughby says, not how you start, but how you finish in terms of the game. Absolutely. Not going to be a top 10 pick. I find that hard to believe, if I'm going to be honest with you.
We're 2-5.
Yeah, I find that hard to believe. Got plenty. Miz was saying you guys got. I should say the Giants have plenty to play for. This is how the kids grow. Maybe for the kids' pride, like Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo. But in terms of playoffs, nah. Mike Moran, who follows me on my Jets account, he always comments on my Aaron Glenn stuff, my rants and shit. But obviously, this is a Giant stream. What's up, guys? Dable and Shane continue to show their incompetence. And Almighty says, "What's good?"
Wompbag has a good point here. Look at Drake May with Vrabel in year 2 and Caleb.
Exactly. That's my point.
That is actually something that gives you hope, saying, you know what? Let's change the coaching staff. Because we're blessed to have a franchise quarterback. I absolutely believe it right now. I will stand on this platform right now and tell you we have our franchise quarterback. I never had that belief with Daniel Jones. I was always honest. I never believed he was going to be the Giants franchise quarterback. He's doing very well in Indianapolis. I'm happy for him. But to be honest, I don't think he was ever going to do it with us. But Dart, he's got something special, man. He's got a little bit more about him. He's tougher. And he's got a little bit more moxie about him. He seems more of a fit for New York. I think he's going to ball. We need to have a coach that can match that. Here's some outside the box thinking. John Gruden loves him. John Gruden can coach an offense. Now, whether he'd be your head coach or maybe your OC, I don't know, but that's someone that, because you want to make sure that whoever you hire loves Dart. You can't be anyone indifferent on him. You has to love him, right? But he has to be also fucking good and smart. And I think Dable knows what he's doing with him, but he loses his mind. And we can't have that as a head coach. He loses his freaking mind. Like you saw it in the Eagles game, for instance. Dart overcame Dable last week. Remember when Dable called a timeout for the Eagles? We were very lucky to have gotten away with that. That's what I'm talking about, where a coach loses his freaking mind under the intensity, under the pressure. He loses it. He already caused that insanity with running into the tent while Dart was getting looked at for concussion, and then he was starting yelling at the medical guy, and then he banged Dart across the head, and then he was causing mayhem on the sidelines. That's what I'm talking about. Dable loses his ever-loving freaking mind. And he did it even when we had a successful year, when Wink Martindale was coaching the shit out of the Giants defense, winning us games by himself in many ways. And during the games, Dable was losing his freaking mind, screaming at Wink all the fucking... And he did the same with our special teams coordinator. He did the same with our offensive coordinator. He does this all the time. He just loses his freaking mind. We can't have that. Because when the pressure gets to him, he loses his fucking shit. It's weird. It needs to stop. And that's why I think we need to move on from Dable. I can't trust that when we get into tight games, and we're going to have plenty of tight games because we finally have a quarterback and finally have an offense, and we have talent on defense. We're going to be in a lot of games. We can't be in a situation where in the last few minutes of a game, our coaching staff implodes. You know, Shane Bowen's like, "Oh fuck, we've got to score a lead. We got to blow this," and then you got Dable running down the sidelines like, "Ah!" Like you can't have that. You gotta have them under control. That's who your leadership is. Your players look to you for leadership, and if you are providing nothing but insanity on the sidelines and complete confusion, then that will translate on the field, as we saw down the stretch in this game. And look, you got a good point because he was screaming at Shane Bowen, dude. I know you're not a defensive guy, Dable, but if you see something that you don't like, if you know anything about football, you take it from fucking Shane Bowen and go, no. You need to be aggressive here. I want to see Brian Burns go after the quarterback. I don't want to see Abdul Carter in coverage.
How about a blitz, Donald? How about a disguised blitz?
If he was that, you know what I'm saying? If he was that upset at Shane Bowen's play calling, you have the control as the head coach to stop him from terrorizing your ball game. And go, no, I don't like 8 people in coverage. Time out. Fuck. You know? Do something different. Because he took responsibility after the Cowboys game. Because Bowen once again went ultra conservative, 8-man in coverage. We already got cooked on that from Dak Prescott. But that's Dak Prescott, who's a significantly better quarterback than Bo Nix. No offense to the Broncos, who've got a very good quarterback in themselves. But, I mean, Prescott is a pretty damn good quarterback. But, I mean, if you're getting cooked by guys like Marvin Mims and Evan Ingram and all that stuff, it's a little bit different from getting cooked by CeeDee Lamb and Pickens, etc. So you can almost forgive that to some extent, but not here. There was no reason to be that afraid, especially considering for the first 3.5 quarters, you were pitching a shutout. You saw it was working, and then you completely got away with it. So that's why I think that they need to completely change the coaching staff. We're blessed. We got a quarterback. Great. Got ourselves a running back. Great. Love 4, 4, and 6. Like they're going to be special. But we need to save them from themselves. And the way to do that is to get better coaching. They have no control of that sideline. Dable is a maniac in tough spots. He loses his freaking mind. And Shane Bowen is a big pussy. He is an enormous 6-foot vagina. That's what he is. He's just takes a pounding. That's it. He does nothing. Useless.
You know what? I'm going to bring something else up too. And also, again, shouts to everybody coming in the chat here. See, Rob says that Shane Bowen is a terrorist. It's kind of offensive to terrorists.
Damn. You know it's bad when it's actually offensive to terrorists. That is bad.
You know what I'm also sick of? And this is such a microcosm. It's not a microcosm, but it's like a small detail. How about we stop? And I may have mentioned this earlier. I apologize. How about we stop with Russell Wilson as quarterback too? Because God forbid that dude steps in the game, it's over. Like, you remember last week when Jackson Dart got hurt and Russell Wilson threw a screwball into the grass?
Yep.
It's like, okay, I get it. $10 million. You're wasting on Russell Wilson. Put Jameis Winston in the game. At least he can operate an NFL offense. Russell Wilson can't at this stage.
Dude, Jameis Winston was in Dart's ear after the turnover, and he's like, overcome it. It's going to be fine. He coached him. He helped him. Russell Wilson doesn't do anything. He's your QB too. He doesn't. He's not a mentor. Move on from him. There's a bunch of teams that could probably do a decent backup quarterback with the amount of people that are getting hurt these days. Jameis Winston is a better fit for this system. He's better suited for this mentor role. He's a very good locker room guy. From what I understand, he's been big supporter Dart, and he's been really active behind the scenes. Been a good dude. That's who you have as your QB2. What are they doing, Russell Wilson? It's cooked. It's over. The Giants fans hate him. After he threw that screwball, he got booed mercilessly. And by the way, Dable has no faith in him. Because Dable was literally ran into the tent and dragged out Dart, who got his head bashed in, and dragged him out of the fucking tent and then hit him over the head to get him back on the field, because that's how little faith he has in Russell. That's what I'm talking about. Dable loses his freaking mind. But I also tend to agree with Evan here. I get nervous because the way that Dart plays is he's got a swashbuckling style. He refuses to go down. He refuses to be beat. He wants to win. He'll do anything to win. I'm very afraid that he might get hurt trying to force plays in a losing situation because Dable doesn't put him in a good position to succeed, and neither does Kafka. That's what I'm worried about, because he's been taking some unnecessary hits at times. And it's some of it not even Dart's fault, because he's trying to make an extra play, or maybe Dable's putting him in a tough situation in terms of poor blocking in front of him, whatever. Although I've been generally very happy with the offensive line, but sometimes it's schematic.
Yeah.
But I'm very worried. I'm very worried that you have to win that game. You have to.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? You know what's one thing, Donald? And I know we're playing the revisionist history card. You know, you look at they signed Russell Wilson, right? They already had Jameis Winston there. Just look at their direction going into the offseason. They were talking about getting Matthew Stafford and paying him all this money. Imagine what that would have looked like. Imagine, Aaron Rodgers coming here. And you know what's an even bigger insult? Imagine that $10 million you invested to Russell Wilson. Imagine putting that into a kicker. Or
a receiver.
Or a receiver, yeah. But Donald, you're wrong there, because we resigned Darius Slayton. Who's been out the last 2 games, by the way, with a hamstring injury. Donald, and I know he didn't play, so I don't know if he deserves all the criticism. He doesn't deserve all the criticism in the world, but I don't understand why the Giants choose to keep guys around who aren't dogs, and they're actually okay, they're solid, but what else do they do? That's Darius Slayton. And what's one thing as well is, I'm not going to go too deep into this, but I wonder what the Giants' narrative machine has to say to their fan base after this bullshit. Because we all remember when a certain radio host went after one of the better content creators in the game, and he doesn't know anything because he's in the locker room. Well, guess what? Half the people that are in the locker room don't do a good job anyway. Let's be honest. But I just had to, because I haven't been on YouTube in almost 3 months. I have to put that out there. So that's just my thing.
Let's see. Knicks was bad under. This is a good point by Evan. I know Miz was talking to Alex earlier, and was saying, "Oh, it was because of Debo." No, Knicks was bad under pressure all game, but Bowen drops 8 in coverage. Talk about unadjusting. That's literally what it's. That's literally unadjusting. That's like, okay, let's go away from what worked.
Exactly.
Let me say this for Donald. You mentioned, possibly Jackson Dart getting hurt. He's a tough guy and all that. Why do they consistently run him in between the tackles and not outside? I'm genuinely being serious. Why do you not run him more outside as opposed to, okay, QB drop the middle. Let's just have some 300-pound defensive
They did that with Daniel Jones, man. They did that with Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones took a lot of unnecessary hits because your coach isn't protecting him. We need to be careful with Dart, man. Like, he's such a winner, but we got to make sure that in plays that are dead, throw the ball away or go down, slide. Don't go head first. Not in this situation. Not 2-5. You could be a bit more aggressive if you're 3-4. If you win this game, and you're like, holy shit, we're actually in this. This season is on, baby. Go, go, go. Not at this point. So we got to be a little bit careful here. I certainly don't want to put it into the atmosphere, even mentioning that.
Yeah.
But he has gotten banged up. You saw his ankle got twisted in that game today. He got his head bashed in last week. He has that style about him. The Giants need to be taking care of him a little bit better. But I mean, of all the negatives, there are some positives. I thought our offensive line was great. I think Illuminor is great. I think Andrew Thomas is great. Our pass blocking in general has been great. And to be fair, our run blocking has actually been a little bit better the last week or two. That's been a little bit improved. So there is a positive there. Our offensive line has been an improvement. So there are some things to be excited about long term. It's certainly not where the Jets are. The Jets are like, let's talk a little bit about the Jets. Like they are like.
You really want me to dive into that? Because I was going to say, you know what, you guys sound off. But if you want me to dive,
I just have one more point.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Giants during the bye week better re-sign Jermaine Illuminor.
I think he needs to be extended for sure. No, I mean, I think we should touch on the Jets, but we should go back to the Giants before we finish off. But yeah, like the Jets, from my perspective, they look like a moribund franchise. They look like they're not even competitive in games. They're getting completely embarrassed. They embarrass themselves weekly, and at least the Giants, they have.
You have a franchise quarterback, Donald.
You have a franchise quarterback. Exactly. They have a franchise quarterback, and they've got vibes. They've got some aura, and they're really giving some really good teams some freaking nightmares. I mean, they gave the Chargers a nightmare, made the Eagles look average, and Peyton, who I find is one of the best coaches in football, always have believed that. I saw his press conference afterwards where he says to Mara that he really wished that they went to the Dar after the Broncos game rather than because he's that good. So, I mean, there's some reasons to be positive as a Giants fan, even amid the heartbreak. But the Giants, man, they've got nothing. Like they are fucked. Their coaching staff is awful, worse than the Giants.
Donald, and now Alex can obviously add in his thoughts. First of all, Stills unique. Mad respect for Broncos country. Great team and foundation. He's talking about you guys.
Respect goes both ways, man. Respect to you guys too. You've got a hell of a team over there.
Also, even this because we played you guys last week. You guys were a well coached team. Evan says, sorry about the Jets. Look at what the F is going on. Yeah, what the F is going on is absolutely right. But I'll say this for the record, because this is going to get into my whole little diatribe about the Jets. Sean Payton's a great coach, as Donald just said. He's a phenomenal coach. I wanted him. I don't know if I said it on the Boys in the Big Apple show 2 years ago, but after the Jets lost 6 in a row to end the season, I wanted Robert Saleh fired, and I said, I want Sean Payton in this building. Immediately get me a veteran quarterback, whatever. Okay, yep. Let's dig in. Armin, of course, a newborn baby could complete a throw on like Fields. Let's dig into the disaster called the New York Jets. For our new viewers, obviously, this is our first time in 3 months streaming, and be it there's some Bronco fans, Giant fans, collection of fans, whoever, you're going to listen to me talk about the Jets a little bit. They are a rudderless ship. There is literally no hope. And this is not usually me like, I'm fair. I will, whether I like a certain hire or not, I'm going to give it a chance. And I said, we'll start out from last year, right? Last year, I said the Jets weren't going to do anything because they had Robert Saleh. And I said this. Mike Moran's going to back me up on this because he loves mentioning it to me. I said Aaron Rodgers last year would not be able to overcome the three levels of incompetence: ownership, GM, head coach. That's why they didn't succeed last year. That's why I said they wouldn't succeed last year. Okay. So they fire Saleh midway through the season, which was stupid. I agreed with that at the time, but it was stupid because you could have fired him a year or 2 years prior, whatever. Let's head into the offseason, okay? The Jets had about 2-3 months to come up with a tangible list of coaches. They consulted the 33rd team, which is not uncommon because they love consulting firms. They've previously consulted Korn & Ferry, which is a legal consulting firm. Nothing to do with football, by the way, a legal consulting firm. They've consulted Bill Polian. They've consulted Charlie Casserly. They've consulted Ron Wolf. They've consulted Peyton Manning about Adam Gase. I could go on and on and on. Okay. Let's go back to November to January of this year. They consulted the 33rd team. They throw out a bunch of names that they're going to interview. Aaron Glenn, Brian Greasy, Mike Loxley from Maryland. Not some, not any reputable names, just some Mike Loxley, Aaron Glenn. You could go on and on with the names. Joe Witt, who's the defensive coordinator of the Commanders. They went through this entire sham process, even the GMs as well. Like, let me tell you this right now. Here's who wasn't on that list. I know they got their ass kicked today. Liam Cohen, who was with the Jaguars, who I wanted. Mike McCarthy, I'm not a big fan of him, but he is definitely – he's like a Tom Tibb. He's like a Tibbs for what this Jets team needs, right? John Gruden was not on that list. They could have had Mike Vrabel last year, but they didn't take the chance. Cliff Kingsbury, I definitely would have interviewed. But no, none of the names were there. And sadly, Donald, you're absolutely right. This coaching staff is awful. But unfortunately, there are some fans that trust the process with this coach because let's tell the truth here. Let's give you all the truths here. There's a lot of Jeff fans that were attached to Aaron Glenn because he used to play for the franchise. And he was a notable player. It's not like he was a scrub. He was a 3-time Pro Bowler with the Jets, especially during the 98 season, the 2000 season, whatever. Aaron Glenn, fine. He is an awful coach. I've never seen a coach more in over his head through 7 games than Aaron Glenn. This surpasses Adam Gase. This surpasses Robert Saleh. The Jets, you're absolutely right, Armin. The Jets don't have a process.
Agreed.
And every single thing, and he reminds me, you guys are going to empathize with me. He reminds me a lot of Joe Judge because he talks tough, but then he waffles. Aaron Glenn, my end goal for this team is for this to be a team that the fans are proud of. Well, who's proud at 0-7? This is supposed to be a competitive year with Justin Fields as quarterback. Let's see. We're going to win now. Nah, because your free agency process was trash. Your draft process was trash. There is nothing to look forward to. And the defense I guess you could say, play well today. The offense is spiraling out of place. And then Aaron Glenn had the balls to say to Brian Costello, because last week Justin Fields was awful. Donald, by the way, I think the Jets had -10 net passing yards last week.
They did.
Again, against the Broncos, against the team that you just played with a rookie quarterback. With a rookie quarterback for the New York Giants. A rookie quarterback. We had a veteran quarterback in Justin Fields. -10 net pass yards. Was not benched the entire game. Brian Costello asked Aaron Glenn, is Justin Fields going to be the starter next week? Aaron Glenn, what kind of question is that? And then Brian responds, it's a fair question. And Aaron Glenn constantly backing up Justin Fields. But today at halftime, he benches Justin Fields for Tyrod Taylor. Something he should have done last week. Something you should have done last week if this team was truly about winning. I believe in none of the process. This team, there is no player that is getting better. There is no aspect or unit of the team that is getting better. All of these coaches suck. The only 2 good players that I can name, maybe 3 on this team, maybe 4, Austin McNamara, Nick Folk, Jermaine Johnson, and Garrett Wilson. Everybody else could go at this point. And if you guys have questions, absolutely ask them. But Glenn looks more prepared at pressers to argue and take – yeah, he's taking shots in the media, bro. You're fucking 0-6. Now 0-7, bro. You're 0-7. And here, I apologize. Before Alex gets to the point, Donald, he name drops he name drop that every week. He name drops a different coach. I spoke to Bill Parcells.
That
I
sounds like
spoke
Joe
to
Judge.
Yes, I spoke to Tony Dungy. I spoke to Jimmy Johnson. And he talks about Dan Campbell in Detroit as if he actually was the head coach when he wasn't. He was an average defensive coordinator.
And I think Wilson's been frustrated by Fields. It looks like at times he visibly gets frustrated. Sauce Gardner, what has happened to Sauce Gardner? He's supposed to be an elite corner. He's fallen completely off the map. And it comes down to coaching. The only thing that Glenn has done in these 7 games was dance. That is the only thing he's done in 7 games. Dance.
You're absolutely right, Donald. Jets Mess, what's up? He says he was less than average. Yeah, because you saw the team last year. Once the key players got hurt, like Hutchinson and all, they got 40 dropped on them by Josh Allen. And then in the playoffs, it was Jaden Daniels, a rookie quarterback. Coaching. Yes. Fields got Garrett Wilson hurt last week, but
yep,
it's honestly amazing because somebody said this to me, and this was about a life thing in general, but this relates to Jets. Just when you think it can get worse, it actually can.
What about his fair weather accountability about benching some players, cutting some players? I don't know if you want me to list or you want to list those things.
Well, he said after week 1, in which the Jets lost to the Steelers, a lot of errors. A lot of people took positives, including myself. But he said, if you're going to turn over the ball and cost us with penalties, you're not going to see the field for us. Meanwhile, Michael Clemens is still on this team. John Simpson's still on this team. Xavier Gibson was cut after week 1, which was reactionary because every fan knew that he was a problem last year and the year prior with fumbles. Isaiah Williams, who fumbled a kick return in week 4 against the Dolphins. Monday Night Football, by the way. Fumbled a kick return and fair caught a ball inside the 5-yard line is still on this team. So that accountability thing is a sham.
And how about this? Usually you don't judge GMs or coaches in their first year sometimes, but how about those moves that Darren Muji has made? Brandon Stevens, Justin Fields is pretty much the star of that show.
Let me say this for the record, and this might be my final bit. You guys could ask questions, obviously, you guys in the chat, you and Donald. This is so bad. I'm never usually a guy that says fire a coach after year 1. But this kind of equates to what I was talking to you guys about. Making sure your coach is competent enough to pick a quarterback, because you have to grow with that quarterback. You have to allow that quarterback to develop. You have to allow the quarterback to see one system, at least one consistent system. I am not confident in allowing Aaron Glenn or Dan Muji draft a quarterback next year. A, selecting who their quarterback is. B, developing it, because I do not want a scenario next year where you have to fire the coach midseason because of how incompetent he is. In my opinion, I said it earlier, after this year, the way things are going, and by the way, 2-3 meaningless wins won't do shit. Fire Aaron Glenn, fire Darren Muji. I am calling John Gruden, Mike McCarthy, or Cliff Kingsbury. If John Harbaugh squeeze is available, I would absolutely do that. You need a proven offensive, experienced head coach. No more coordinators, whether it's defense or offense. This team is so bad, elite in the shitter, that I don't think players believe what their coach is saying anymore. He's just talking in circles at this point.
But well, to be honest, dude, we could rewind and go back to Boys in the Big Apple 2-3 years ago, 3 years ago. You had the same conversation. We need a new coach and you name all these really good coaches. Dude, they're not going to go to the Jets. Look at your ownership. Your ownership is a big freaking problem, man. They don't want to. Ownership doesn't want to be better. They don't want to be better, and the players and good coaches and all that stuff are going to be afraid to go near that coaching staff and that ownership. Sorry, because it's got a horrible reputation around the league. Horrible reputation. It's got one of the worst reputations in New York sports, and it's going to scare away a lot of talent. I mean, listen, nobody wants to coach under Brian Dable. People talk, right? People fucking talk. So it's not a good situation, man. Like, ownership has always been the big problem. And it's, I mean, you saw how Aaron Rodgers is like, oh, I'm just so glad to just beat the Jets. Oh my God. It's just like players leave and they're like, they just want to stick it to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, Bill Parcells wanted to stick it to you after he left the Jets. I mean, friggin' Belichick hated the Jets after he left the Jets, and he wanted to force it to stick it to you guys. It's been a problem for decades, and I don't know how it's going to get better. This seems to be the Jets, I'm afraid.
Now, listen, I completely agree. The ownership is the problem, and here's the thing. Miz's friend, Miz was in the chat earlier. His good friend Buko is like, only the Jets can hire defensive coordinators, first-time head coaches, first-time defensive-minded head coaches every cycle, and constantly get worse at it.
Yep.
Bowles, Saleh, now Glenn. And before Bowles, it was Rex Ryan. And before Bowles, before Rex Ryan, it was Mangini. And before Mangini, it was Herman Edwards. It was the same thing because it comes down, and Donald, I don't know if you know this, Aaron Glenn is the most highest paid coach by this ownership in terms of how many coaches they've paid over the years. Aaron Glenn is earning something like $9 to $12 million a year just to be 0-7. I'm not doing that correct, but it stands. It stands. 0-7. He is 0-7, but the ownership of this trash organization is paying him the most they've paid out of any coach. And I said this. They could have had Harbaugh. They could have had Peyton. And let me tell you something. Donald, I agree with your point about ownership. But it comes down to – because let's just say the Jets go 0-17 or 1-16 or 2-15, whatever. Number one pick, lot of cap space next year, and plenty of draft picks. And there are some pieces on this team. Put aside ownership. That is attractive to any head coach because we were saying the same stuff 5 years ago about Trevor Lawrence, the idea of Trevor Lawrence, bringing in another head coach, a competent head coach, a real leader. The number one pick is the key marketing tool for a head coach. And I get it. It's not always about the number one pick. Just if you want quarterback, you want trade back, it's also all about money. If I know Woody Johnson and if I know him well, he's not going to fire this coach after the year. Glenn is getting $12 million. Thank you, Armand. He's not going to fire Aaron Glenn after the year because he's going to say, I'm paying this guy $12 million. Do I really want to be paying 2-3 head coaches? Because he's still paying Saleh. He's paying Saleh. He's paying Aaron Glenn. Woody is very cheap. And it's also to the point that Woody meddles in the organization when he shouldn't. And that's a similar problem to Mara. But Woody thinks he knows football. He doesn't. That's the problem. And then he looks to these firms. And this is the same problem with you guys. You guys don't have a president of football operations, and neither do we. We really could use one to separate the business side and the sports side, the football side. We don't have that. That is the issue. And I think Woody Johnson, in my opinion, I hope I'm wrong, will say, I'm paying this guy $12 million. I'm still paying Sal on top of him. How many coaches do I really want to pay? I'm going to give this guy another chance because he's a Jet. He was a former Jet.
Dude, next offseason, you're going to be going back in time to the offseason that you had when you drafted Sam Darnold. It's very similar, because you were like, oh, we're going to get one of the best. We're going to get the best quarterback in the draft. We're going to be fine. And what did the coaching staff do to Sam Darnold? Sam Darnold started to see ghosts, and then he fell apart, and he had to be rebuilt by another coaching staff over in Minnesota and now Seattle. So he had to be rebuilt due to the damage that was done to Sam Darnold. Look at the damage that was done to Daniel Jones. He had to be rebuilt partly by Minnesota and now in Indianapolis. Get his confidence back. That's what bad coaches do. Bad coaching staff, bad ownership, bad organizations. It doesn't matter who you pick. You could get the next fucking Peyton Manning, but if the whole organization is a dumpster fire, you're not going to get the most out of them, and that quarterback will be better off in another organization. It's a lot of it comes down to coaching and solid ownership, solid front office. You need that, and it's been the same problem with the Giants, as you've known, and it's the same with the Jets. This is just like a reoccurring thing.
Absolutely, and this is I'll try to end off my segment here. I know Alex has a question or a put in. I'm going to call them fanboys because that's what they are at this point. Like, even the most optimistic fan, how are you not concerned at this point? Your team is 0-7 for the third time since 1996. 96, 2020, 2025.
That's insane.
0-7. It is insane. And the fanboys are like, well, you got to trust the process, patience. It wasn't about this year. Bro, I'm seeing teams with less talent or comparable that are looking more competent in 1 year. And here's another excuse I hear. We don't have the quarterback. Who picked the quarterback?
Right.
It wasn't some albatross that you were tied to. They single-handedly, if they were about winning, they said, you know what? Aaron Rodgers, even though I didn't want Rodgers back, Aaron Rodgers, nah. Russell Wilson, nah. Jameis Winston, nah. Trading for a veteran quarterback if possible? Nah. Kirk Cousins? Nah. Justin Fields. And I said it. I said at the time, the big risk was Justin Fields. You have to recalibrate him. You would have to do what the Colts did to Daniel Jones and what Seattle, Minnesota have done to Sam Darnold with coaches like Charles London who have never developed a quarterback. And Charles London is a running back coach.
Right.
And where he was as a quarterback coach, Geno Smith had a bad year when he was quarterback coach, and Will Levis was a quarterback when he was the quarterback coach. So it's like that's not the most promising resume either.
No.
Alex.
So I saw a hot take on Twitter, and to be honest, I disagree with it despite how the Giants came off today. A Giants fan who's also a content creator, I mean, he's a lesser-known content creator. I think they're part of the Giants Daily podcast, said they would gladly trade Brian Dable for Aaron Glenn.
No, I don't see that. That's why
I would not do that. I'm sorry.
No.
Not as a head coach. No way as a head coach. Are you kidding?
No.
Not even as a defensive coordinator. The guy was average. No. You can't do that.
Yeah,
You
he's
can't
not
possibly.
that good as a defensive coordinator. You're right.
Kelvin Shepard is better. The Giant.
How did the Lions get better defensively when they got rid of Aaron Glenn?
That's a good point.
Addition by subtraction.
But yeah, I'm done. I'm sorry. Just to end off, I'm done with the fanboys. I'm gonna post a rant tomorrow sometime because I'm gonna be off tomorrow. I'm gonna post a rant. Let me say this for the record. And this is again, I apologize. I know it's a Giant stream. I just want to end it off.
You're good.
I'm done. There is no hope. I'll post a rant tomorrow. Donald, let me tell you something. And I told Alex this because he was at work. At halftime, I chose to fall asleep. I chose to go to sleep because I've been up since 5 a.m. I chose to go to sleep. I was like, this game is boring. I'm learning nothing. It's the same old, same old. I'm going to sleep. I said I will prep for the Giants game because you know what? That's going to be more exciting.
You're right, because you're learning nothing. Because what are you learning? You're not developing Justin Fields. You don't actually have a purpose right now. You're just playing it out. And by the way, I completely disagree with those fanboys that you mentioned because although this year wasn't meant to be the year, this year was meant to be a competitive year. That's why you brought in Fields because you were like, he's young, he can run, he's got an arm. That was the whole plan. You know, they've got Wilson, they got Hall, they got some weapons for him. That was the narrative. It wasn't. It was like maybe win 5-6 games. It wasn't to play out and go for 17. That wasn't the point. That wasn't the purpose. So those fanboys are way off.
It just doesn't make any sense. And let me show you. Again, final point, I promise. I sent this to Alex. Let me see here. I'm going to show you how empty the stadium was. And by the way, Donald, and I know the Browns are a bad team. Tickets are starting as low as $40 for when the Jets return home to play the Browns. $40. And
Dude,
you're
that's $40 too much.
this
man.
is an owner who has raised season ticket prices and ticket prices every single year since 2021, despite no winning seasons.
You should tell Donald what they're policing.
Donald, look at the stands. This was today's game at MetLife.
God.
It's barren. It is absolutely barren. Look at the upper deck. Look at the middle row. It's barren.
That is, oh my God. MetLife is fucked.
It was. I know Alex usually makes this point. It's like it was erected or built on like sacred burial grounds. Like it disturbed a sacred burial ground. It's because Giants. Again, I've never been to Giant Stadium, and obviously, I was way too young for that. But like the stories that people tell me, whether you're a Giant or a Jet fan, great vibe. It was loud. It used to rock. You knew people in your section. You got what you were investing in. This is complete opposite. But
Jets was right. Death Life.
Death Life Stadium.
Isn't that what Odell Beckham called it?
Yeah, he did.
Because he tore his ACL on it, and so many other players. And obviously, our owners are too cheap to put in grass or at least some sort of AstroTurf. But regardless, Donald, this was, I think, like week 2. A member of Jet Nation, which is a known YouTube channel, was reportedly banned from MetLife Stadium because Jet Nation, they do tailgates, and you have to pay for, some of them you have to pay, obviously. I don't agree with it, but I understand it. If you're doing it for charity or whatever, okay. You pay for your food, you pay for alcohol. The Jets saw that as competition and say, hey, you're banned. For running a tailgate like that, you're banned. NJ Police stopped them. They said, you're not going inside the stadium. And apparently, this is people, not many people, like one person came to defense and say, hey, you know what? This is more New Jersey police. If this was such law, why was this not enforced years ago? It just seems petty. It's absolutely petty because there's other people that sell alcohol. And because here's the thing, Donald, you need a liquor license. You're a private business inflicting on private property. That's what they say.
Wow.
Tailgates have been forever.
Yeah. This is what happens. This thing's fucked, man. What a mess.
That is my end. And I'll say this final thing. I apologize. In the words of Joe Beningo, and I'm going to mix it up a little bit.
Legend.
With different things. WFAN legend Joe Beningo. You can change the coach. You can change the general manager. You can change the uniforms. You can change the font on the uniforms. You could change the stadium lights. You could change the lunchroom. Again, I'm adding some things. You can change the lunchroom. You could change the color of the practice facility.
Yep.
You could change the windows in the practice facility. You could change the quarterback. You could change the ball boy. You could change the cheerleaders. You could take away the cheerleaders. It is the New York Jets, and the results will never change.
It's like that's mic drop.
Bad mic drop. That was me.
Very good mic drop.
Yeah, very good. All right. So I have a question, and I guess Luca could input as if he was a Giants fan. From a Giants perspective, at how many wins, and let's not be unrealistic here, at how many wins would you say, okay, it's okay to keep Brian Dable? Or you could say, I don't want to keep him at all. Here's who I want as my OC, DC, and head coach.
I think that's a tough one because we don't know who's going to be available, and that might be another reunion stream where we have a better idea. But I will say I don't think there should be any circumstances where Dable comes back, unless we make the playoffs, which we're not. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if you win 7 or 8 games, but I don't think that's happening. I think it's time to move on. Need a new defensive coordinator, new offensive coordinator. The decision that they made for their secondary coach is a joke because look at our secondary. It's a dumpster fire. Like they need all new coaching. Completely scrub it. Scrub it. Get rid of Kafka. I don't know how Kafka gets all these offensive coordinator, head coach interviews. How? I haven't seen anything from him. Like our entire coaching staff is a dumpster fire. Dumpster fire. And I don't think there should be any circumstances that they come back. Now, I do think that Dable is a very good offensive mind. I think he's very talented. I think he's good with quarterbacks. I think he's smart. I think he knows his shit. But as a head coach, I think he just doesn't have the temperament to be a head coach. Now, I love fire. Don't get me wrong. But Tom Coughlin had fire, but it was always channeled in order to be motivational and to play smart and to be smart. Brian Dable has the fire, but he doesn't know how to channel it. And it just comes across as losing control and acting like a complete maniac. And that's where that's kind of like the breaking point. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's where it falls apart. Like there's things that make Dable a good coach, and you're like, shit, there's a good coach there. And that's why I don't altogether hate him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Joe Judge to his ass, horrible coach. You know what I mean? I've seen some really bad head coaches. McAdoodle, fucking terrible head coach. But Dable has little aspects to him. You're like, damn, there's a good coach in there. He just needs to channel it, but he can't channel it, and he always loses his shit. And that's why I can't trust it. I think he's an offensive coordinator. I think he's a career offensive coordinator. So what I'm going to do is I'm hiring John Gruden. Now, whether John Gruden's I'm probably going to go John Gruden head coach. But if you would accept the offensive coordinator role, all the better. But I would have John Gruden in there to be the next mentor for Jackson Dart. But it needs to be one hell of a defensive coordinator. He needs to be fucking good-ass DC. And we're not going to get one if Dable is employed because nobody wants to work under Brian Dable. That is a fact. That's why Shane Bowen stayed. The Giants would have moved on from Shane Bowen if they could have actually enticed a defensive coordinator in this cycle. But nobody wants to work under Brian Dable and Joe Shane. Not after Hard Knocks. Definitely not after Hard Knocks. And Hayes is right. Bring back Wink. And by the way, you know why you should be trusting me and Alex here and Luca? Because we were the ones that were saying, while everyone was like, oh, fuck Wink, bro, Dable. We were the only ones that were like, nope, don't like this. Nope, there's something not right here. While everyone was like, and all the big ones like Talking Giants were like, yeah, fuck Wink, fucking hate him. While we were like, nope, there's something not right here. And we were right.
So I'd say 7 wins. And my opinion is subject to change. I say 7 wins is like, okay, you could kind of bring back Brian Dable. But it's very hard to convince me after this type of game that he should be brought back. And someone, again, brought up those examples, Caleb Williams and Drake May in year 2. They're succeeding, right? So my offensive coordinator would definitely be Mike McDaniel. He's not a leader of men, but he's a coordinator.
Oh, it could be a good offensive coordinator.
Comes from a very good tree. DC, I think you could be having a pick of the litter. Here's why, right? If you go to the Tennessee Titans, you could get your pick in Denard Wilson. However, you see that I know the Giants wanted him before until they got Shane Bowen. Well,
because Denard Wilson's going to be free because of the new regime. That's going to be
exactly
Tennessee.
You could pick Anthony Weaver, who their pass defense in Miami is pretty good. You could, let's see. If he is fired, I don't know that he will be. You could pick possibly Jonathan Gannon as your defensive coordinator. The Browns, if he is actually willing to jump again, you could pick Jim Schwartz as your defensive coordinator. He was actually in the head coaching search in 2018 before they hired Pat Shurmur.
Hell of a
So
coach.
he could be a guy. My thing is, I don't know if Gruden and McDaniel would run the same system. I don't think they would. But, I mean, that would be a...
You're right, because what the key is we need to have someone that runs a similar system to Dable so that Darnold's comfortable.
Right.
So, I mean, McDaniel might be a good fit. I just don't see him as a head coach.
No. I would not. I would definitely not. No.
He doesn't look like a coach for New York. He looks weird and he looks a little bit.
He's a nerd.
He's a little bit of a nerd, and he just doesn't. He doesn't show any power, passion.
He's socially awkward. He seems like
he's
like that socially awkward nerd in school.
Very good offensive coordinator, though.
Yeah,
good mind, and he's getting undone by Tua.
Yeah, I think the Giants need somebody with experience this time around. And I know it's not going to be if there was a case where this guy got fired, which is probably not going to happen. You lay down on your hands and knees on that red carpet for John Harbaugh. You lay down on your hands and knees, my opinion.
Do you think Harbaugh's going to be available?
No. I think the Ravens have a little bit more patience, but if it gets to a point where you say, hey, where they say, hey, we're not going to keep you, which I still think would be I think their defense is just fucking trash.
It's also the injury to Lamar Jackson that didn't help.
Yeah. That didn't help neither, but I mean,
Evan, Bill Belichick. Yes. He needs to break up with his girlfriend though.
Yeah.
I mean, that North Carolina experiment's not going to last too long. I have a feeling he's going to be bought out. There's no way he's lasting more than a year there.
Oh no, that's cooked. That's already done. Like I think they even know it.
Yeah, that's
the problem was Belichick is getting controlled by his teenage girlfriend. She's running the fucking show over there, and yeah, I want nothing to do with him unless he breaks up with his girlfriend because that dude's coaching ability is going way out the window right now.
I mean, I don't want any to be. This is. I don't know. I don't think it's a hot take, but I know my friend Miz is a huge Bill Belichick fan. I don't want anything to do with him at all, actually, because he couldn't scout talent in the last few years in New England. He shows you what his coaching can do at the college level right now. And being that he can't scout talent, he can't be a president of football operations.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So that's where I stand.
If it's a coordinator job, then fucking right.
Yeah, but his
ego has gotten too big.
Oh yeah,
and yeah. I think he underappreciated Tom Brady.
Yeah. That relationship,
and that's come back to bite him in the ass. To be fair,
yeah, but that would be like, as I said, head coach probably would be somebody with experience. I don't think I'd bring McCarthy in. That was more of like what I wanted instead of Joe Judge. So many years ago, John Harbaugh, which is a miracle. John Gruden. I would take Brian Flores, but I know he has that lawsuit against the Giants in the NFL. So
that's cooked.
Well,
here's Brian Flores, hell of a coach.
Well, here's the thing as well. You know, John Gruden still has a lawsuit against the NFL, so that's going to be an obstacle and a half. So
that might be part of
the Nevada, I think Supreme Court said that the NFL can't try him in like a private like arbitration or anything. They said this is going to go through court. This is going to go through a legal court system, and this is how it's going to be. So it's still ongoing as we know it. So,
and the Giants are very traditional.
Yeah. They're the Giant way.
And Mara is obviously kind of in the ear of the commissioner in many ways. Like he's kind of like the right hand man. So he'd probably steer away from anything that could be considered controversial.
Yeah, I just think also as well, before I asked Luca who he would hire if he was in the Giants position, I guess we could, kind of start wrapping it up, is not just, oh, you let them draft their quarterback and you let them keep Shane Bowen. Mike Vrabel was on the market. I would have had Mike Vrabel in a heartbeat.
I wanted Vrabel, man.
But, that's the revisionist.
The big question, though, we've been talking about coaching. We've not talked about Joe Shane yet. And that is really a tough one. That is a tough call because you can't half-ass this.
No.
Right? And we've seen what Mara make that mistake before where he keeps the GM, fires the coach, or keeps the coach and fires the GM. And you really can't do one or the other unless the GM is a freaking baller. And I don't know if Joe Shane is showing enough that could convince you that you should be trusting him. I mean, the kicking situation is a mess. He selected Deontay Banks, and Deontay Banks is one of the worst corners in Giants history. And there's no doubt about it. I mean, Banks was only on the field for about 8 or 9 minutes today, and the Giants gave up 33 points with him on the field. With him off the field, they gave up no points. So they targeted the shit out of Banks. Banks is so fucking bad, and Joe Shane's responsible for that. But then on the other side of the coin, he has drafted our franchise quarterback, and he has now drafted our franchise running back. But on the other side of the coin, he did embarrass himself with the whole Saquon stuff. He certainly did. And he kind of embarrassed the Giants organization universally with the way that he spoke to agents and just made a complete clown of himself in Hard Knocks. And his roster management is one of the worst I've ever seen because we sometimes play with 52 men and 51 instead of 53. Like he mismanages shit. He doesn't know what's going on. It's bad. So
Donald, I hate to interrupt you, but I brought this up to Alex a few weeks ago. This was amidst the Giants losing. So I don't remember what podcast, and I saw this on my Twitter. I was like, wow, this is an interesting point. Go back to that 2023 class and tell me that it's not one of the worst draft classes that you've ever seen in franchise history.
Yeah, pull it up.
You know what? Yeah, I'll do that. But can I quickly give my coaching picks, Alex?
Yeah.
So, defensive coordinator, you guys just faced him. He wasn't the DC, but he was the secondaries coach. He was also a really damn good DC in college. Guaranteed, obviously, it depends how it plays over in NFL. Might be a little biased because he used to play for the Jets. That guy's name is Jim Leonard, who used to be the DC at Wisconsin, and he is the passing game coordinator defensive-wise for the Denver Broncos. He is also the assistant head coach, actually. So Sean Payton trusts him a lot. I think you would have to give him a little bit of a raise to be defensive coordinator, considering he's an assistant head coach, or you could say, you know what, you're the assistant head coach and defensive coordinator, so you get double title.
It's a great shout, my guy. Great shout.
Offensive coordinator. I like the Mike McDaniel idea. Obviously, we just mentioned I think he's a really good offensive mind if you put talent around and can scheme up different things. He's, as I said, he's like that nerd in school that's really socially awkward, but he's a genius. Yeah. So he's probably my OC. Gruden's not a bad shout. It obviously depends on what you guys want. Do you want an experienced head coach? Do you believe it's bad enough where you desperately need an experienced head coach? Let me ask you this. Would you guys, with a guy like Jim Leonard, let's just say, what if you guys go the youth movement? How would you guys feel if you guys, and he was a former head coach, experienced head coach. I'd say his record wasn't great, but if he brings on a guy like Leonard and runs a similar system to Mike McDaniel, would you guys be interested in Cliff Kingsbury?
As a head coach?
Yes.
Not as a head coach.
Not as a head coach? Okay. So I'll amend that.
I like him, again, as a coordinator. There's certain guys that I believe are good coordinators that I just don't have that extra thing as a head coach. I think Dable's one of them, and I think Kingsbury's another.
As a head coach, so as I said, I'll amend that. Out of all the names, tough one. Not going to go Anthony Weaver. I don't think that's compatible. Let me look up some. I apologize. I'm going to look up some
Bring Wink
possible
back
coaches.
as DC.
That's not a bad shout. That's
as
not
long
a
as they
bad
get rid of
shout.
people.
Let's see. Some names. I'm just going to throw these guys at you. Would you guys be interested in a Joe Brady from Buffalo?
As head coach?
No, not as head coach.
Coordinator. As
Head
coordinator
coach.
or head coach? Not as head
Head-
coach. No. As
okay.
coordinator, yes.
What we already mentioned Brian Flores. You're not going to do a Jesse Minter, will you?
I don't think so.
Okay. Let's see. Belichick. No, not Vic Fangio. No Anarumo, right? That's not a sexy name. So I honestly, with all those names, I'd probably go. You know what? Here's a name on the East Coast. He is a bit older. He is a phenomenal offensive coordinator when it comes to the NFL and college. He's one of my personal favorites. How about Todd Monken? Did it with the Bucks. Good with the Ravens. Obviously, when Lamar's on the field, and he was phenomenal with Georgia. He's older, yes, so it would be like an older kind of coaching cycle thing where you're tapping into an older coach, giving him a shot, and it's an offensive coach. That's just my personal opinion.
I'm more on the experience train. If he's OC and he gets and Harbaugh gets let go, sure. But
I mean, I wouldn't like the way I look at it is like I think it needs to be an experienced head coach. Like he needs to have tons of years.
Okay.
I mean, even if he's not have tons of experience as a head coach, as long as he has tons of experience as a coordinator, I'd be perfectly happy with a defensive coordinator type guy being the head coach. But you need to have a really good mind, like a McDaniel being the OC, to develop the quarterback, like that kind of stuff. I wouldn't have any issue with that at all. But you never know, like what could happen, because sometimes there's some stupid firings that are completely come out of nowhere, and you're like, shit, that guy got fired, you know?
Absolutely,
So, like
I hate to
Vrabel,
interrupt,
for instance. So, like, who knows what would happen? Like maybe Todd Bowles gets fired, and I'd be like, shit.
Ooh, I as a Jet fan, I would not suggest Todd Bowles, but I'll say this:
really good. I think he's a really good coach, man. I think
he got better with the talent around him, but I don't think he's a coach that's going to take you all the way. But I'll say this: what about if he gets fired? I'm going to ask Alex. I know my boy Vinny was considering this as a Jets name. I don't think he'll get fired because that quarterback room is disgusting. Stefanski?
I don't think he's as bad as people think.
I actually quite like that one.
If he gets fired, I would suggest that Stefanski, McDaniel, and then
I suggested him last year, Stefanski, actually.
Yeah, that's a decent suggestion.
I'll leave that as that, if possible, Kevin Stefanski. But to segue into one of the worst Giants draft classes of all time.
Oh no.
Round 1, pick 24. You remember you traded up one spot for Deontay Banks, if you guys remember that.
And wasn't the only trade up in that draft.
The Giants at number 57, so round 2 would select John Michael Schmitz. You guys were excited as hell for that pick, and I remember that, and I always taunt Alex with that, whatever.
Yeah.
Then you guys traded, what's this? A 4th and a 3rd for Jalen Hyatt. That was a trade up to 73. Not to mention this. Oh, this is a pick from the Chiefs. Whatever. Let's go to round 5. From Oklahoma, 172nd overall, 5th round, running back Eric Gray.
I said it when it was Senior Bowl. When it was the Senior Bowl, what did I say? I said this dude looks slow. And guess what?
At 200, and again, 6th round here. From Old Dominion, 209th overall. From the Chiefs in the Kadarius Toney trade. Cornerback, Old Dominion, Trey Hawkins III.
I mean, I thought he did decent last year in when he subbed in, but I mean, he probably would have been better than Deontay Banks, but he was still a garbage can.
That's true. Yeah, it was actually better than Deontay Banks. That's true. It's not a bad shout.
Round 7, you have 2 picks. 243rd overall out of Oregon. Nose tackle Jordan Riley.
Yeah, he didn't do shit.
He's horrible.
And then at 254, 7th overall, compensatory pick. I don't know from who. But this was Javarius Owens.
Awful.
Just remember, I'll say this for the record too. There was a 6th round pick in this draft that was traded to the Houston Texans for Keon Crossan. I think that was done in 2021 as a part of the Joe Judge era. A special teamer. Yes, 2021. This was Joe Judge. The Giants traded a 2020. Let me see this. For a 7th round selection. The Giants, I believe, traded a pick in this draft. I could be wrong. For Ben Bredesen. Could be wrong on that.
He wasn't terrible. And,
he was okay.
And the Giants traded a 3rd round selection for recently coming out of retirement, Darren Waller.
Oh, that was bad. That was really bad. He turned into a really bad rapper. And then, of course, there's the draft with Evan Neal.
The fact that he can't even see the field is disgusting.
Do I have to go into that
Deontay
draft?
Banks can see the field, not Evan Neal.
Do I have to go into that draft? I don't have to.
Go for it.
Yeah, why not?
All right, let's go back to Joe Shane's first NFL draft. 2022.
You haven't recovered from it, to be fair.
No, you have not.
He had to hit, and he didn't.
All righty, let's go into the draft class. First round, 4th overall. Let me make sure my numbers are right. 5th overall, from Oregon, defensive end Kayvon Thibodeau.
He's turned into an above average, but not
5th overall.
There, but not for 5th overall. That's kind of the way I view it.
We just meant
B selection, like a B, maybe B plus, maybe B minus, B plus. What would you grade it? What would you grade that pick?
I'd say B plus.
Yeah.
It's only this year he's starting to come up a little bit.
Yeah, and what would you grade it as?
I'd say a B or a B plus. Evan wants to bring it back real quick. Remember when the Giants traded for Billy Price?
Oh,
they traded B.J. Hill, who was a run stopper.
Because Joe Judge had Danny Shelton above him.
Just an idiot. Just
Just to go back to the 22.
Hell of a player, man.
22 draft. Now, the Jets actually traded up for Breece Hall, so the Giants used those assets to trade back. Fair. With the 43rd overall selection, the Giants drafted out of Kentucky wide receiver Wan'Dale Robinson.
What would you grade that one?
He's a good gadget receiver. He's not worth a 2nd round pick. So he's like a
Pickens.
C.
I mean,
no, he's not Pickens.
We could have taken Pickens. What would you have given it, Alex? What would you give it?
Give it like a B.
Because the funny thing is, he's actually one of the only contributing members of that draft class, along with Thibodeau and maybe Flaw.
And what does that say?
Not a lot. I don't think there's much upside with him, but he's shown more than I gave him credit for. I think he's shown a bit of toughness this year, and he's really helped out Dart. He's not really let him down, while others have, and he hasn't. So I'm going to give him a B. I think last year I would have given it a C. Now I'm giving him maybe a B plus. Obviously, we know that it's a flat F minus for Evan Neal. That's
a Z. A Z is much better.
Yeah, a Z for Evan Neal. Like, you can't recover from that, though. You have to hit. At worst, you have to have someone that is an above-average football player in the top 10 pick. You can't have someone who is unplayable. You can't survive that as a GM. You can't. It's unsurvivable.
By the way, a good point by Evan. Obviously, yes, he brought up the Billy Price trade. The Giants actually traded a seventh and BJ Hill to the Bengals for Billy Price. So
That's even worse.
that's even worse. Anywho, you guys are gonna love this pick. 67th overall from North Carolina, offensive guard / offensive tackle, 3rd round, Josh Zudu.
I fucking hated him. I hated him from the start. F.
F. I like that.
I hated him when I was scouting him. I hated him. I was like, this guy is so ass. Please no. Oh, they took him. Great.
F plus.
F plus.
F. That was awful. Oh, Marcus McKeithen. Oh, we're getting there, baby.
Oh yeah, we're getting there. We're going down the list here. 81st overall. Donald wasn't really high on this pick, I remember. From LSU, cornerback, still in the team, Cordell Flott.
He's having a good year this year.
Yeah, I agree.
What would you give him? Because I mean, I wasn't a big fan of him, but he's actually our only functioning corner right now. So
Probably like a B.
B plus.
yeah, maybe a B plus. There was something there with Flaw. There was a little bit of upside with him. So yeah, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt with that one.
So the 110th pick you traded to Baltimore for Bredesen Fine. Actually caught himself a touchdown today from San Diego State, Daniel Bellinger.
I like him.
It should. I'd give him an A minus if they actually know how to use him.
He's
Just
actually
like
a legit tight end, but I don't know what the coaching staff's issue with him has been in the past because he's so much better than Theo Johnson. It's not even funny.
I say like a B plus. Keep it.
Yeah, absolutely. They've kind of wasted him. I mean, he could have been an A if they knew how to utilize him. Yeah, good point. Yeah, decent selection there. They really wasted him. It's a shame.
114th overall out of Iowa, safety. 100 from the 4th round, Dane Belton.
C.
I agree.
Maybe go C minus there. He's actually been better this year, but again, he's not good.
Linebacker out of Indiana. This is the 5th round, 146th overall. Acquired. This pick was acquired from the Jets trade back. Linebacker out of Indiana, unfortunately, currently hurt, Micah McFadden.
I'd give him an A.
I like him. Give it a solid B.
I'd give it an A.
All right.
Moving to, you're not going to like this pick. The next pick after from Arizona State, nose tackle, DJ Davidson.
F. G. HIJKLMNOP.
Give me a C minus.
Oh, really?
Actually, no, that's doing it justice.
That's a lot of
That's
D plus.
Okay. Luca, what would you give it?
F. I don't think he's notable in any way.
Terrible player.
And Evan just remarked on this pick, Marcus McKeithen.
Z.
Yeah. Why?
Z. Z.
Why? I like that. Why? Why did you pick him?
Exactly. Why did you pick him?
And 182nd overall, 6th round. Unfortunately, got hurt in his first year. Linebacker out of Cincinnati, Darian Beavers.
Yeah, that's flunked F.
S for satisfactory.
How is it satisfactory? Did he even see the field? Satisfactory would tell you that, like, okay, this guy was serviceable.
How about you for unsatisfactory?
Unsatisfactory.
There you go.
It's like on your report card, but that's the Joe Shane 22 and 23 draft classes.
I'm actually having a good time with these draft classes. What was the next one? Because that wasn't actually, you know what? The latter part of it wasn't that bad. Unfortunately, he missed at the top part.
Yeah.
Do we want to evaluate the 24 class a year later, or is that too early?
I think we should. I'm up for
I say not 25. Let's do 24.
That's what I said. Obviously, the first round pick is Malik Neighbors. We all know that.
Yeah, that's an A+.
Unfortunately, he got hurt. 39th overall was traded to the Carolina Panthers for yours truly, Brian Burns. So key cog in that.
That's been a win. It's been an A.
From the Seattle Seahawks, courtesy of the Leonard Williams trade, safety from Minnesota, 47, Tyler Nubin.
D.
C.
I'm giving it a D because of the value of how high
A
he
safety's
was
pick.
taken. Like, you really need to get a win there, a big win, and especially considering you lost McKinney, you really needed to get a win there. And I don't like Nubin. Nubin's getting cooked in coverage quite often. He sometimes misses tackles. I don't like the route that he takes to receivers. I'm seeing some big red flags with him this year. He actually was okay tonight in some ways. He got a couple of big hits in there, but I don't think he's good. I think he's overrated. I think he's one of the more overrated players. But I think the Giant fans gassed him up last year, and I don't know
I think
why.
they did too. Because
I'm giving him a D.
he had 6 interceptions 1 year at Minnesota, and then he completely flopped. I'm gonna agree more towards Donald here. I'm gonna give it a V.
A V.
A V. Okay.
V
For
what?
very awful.
Very awful. Yeah, I don't like him. I'm not a fan of him actually.
I know we didn't do UDFAs, and we're not going to.
Look at what would you grade him?
Like a C minus, because that's like you really have to nail a safety at the second round value, because
You have to.
nobody really unless you're like Xavier Watts, who I loved coming out of college because I'm a Notre Dame fan, obviously.
Facts.
Went to the Falcons. You really have to nail a second round safety pick. Even in the first round, if there's like a rarity of some sorts. But even Brian Branch is good, but this guy's not good. He is a C minus. But just remember, guys, from this undrafted class, just a quick note. Your kicker came from this undrafted class. Jude McAtomney, undrafted free agent.
Fucking hey Jude. Hey Jude.
Hate
Why
Jude
do
so
you
much.
suck? I fucking hate you so very much. Everything you do is a complete waste of time. You suck balls. You can't kick in a straight line.
Moving on with the third round, 70th overall pick from Kentucky, cornerback Drew Phillips.
Pretty good.
I think he's very hot and cold
B minus.
I think B minus is fair.
because he remind. I'm not gonna say he's like good as Trayvon Diggs. He gets turnovers, but he also gets beat a lot. That's the problem. It's like very hot and cold, very feast or famine with him almost. So moving on with that, 107th overall, tight end out of Penn State, Theo Johnson.
Oh, I hate him. I'm sorry. I think he sucks. The amount of times that he drops so many really easy throws, I think he's so fucking overrated. I don't care. He's had a couple moments, but I'm sorry. I'm giving him a D, maybe an F. I really don't like him.
C minus.
Yeah, I'm gonna be C minus.
Next up, this fifth round, 141st overall was traded to the Panthers. Next up, from Purdue, this was from the 49ers via the Panthers. I guess, yeah, might have been with the trade from Birds. The Giants get an extra pick back, whatever. 166th overall from Purdue, running back Tyrone Tracy Jr.
He's okay.
B.
Fifth round. He's the fifth round running back.
Yeah, he's okay. I don't think he's as great as some Giants fans have guessed him up to be, but I think he's pretty good. I'm giving him a B minus.
He's an S. He's an S for satisfactory. I think we could use the S there.
He's solid. He has his moments. B minus.
Alex loves this pick. 183rd overall out of UCLA, linebacker in the sixth round, Darius Muasau.
I'll give him a T for trash can.
Not a fan of him.
No.
I don't know, because he had a couple moments tonight, didn't he?
Yeah, he might have had like a run stop or two.
Yeah.
He's so stiff.
Maybe a C minus, a D maybe. C minus D. Yeah, you're probably right. Probably does suck because
But it's a sick.
he is playing kind of like a coverage linebacker now, and everything that we do in coverage is disgraceful.
And he is taking over from Micah McFadden. He's better off his depth piece. But
Yeah, he's a back end of the roster type guy, man. C minus D.
and seventh round pick, you guys didn't select this. You traded to the Cardinals for Isaiah Simmons.
That was such a wait. Oh yeah, no, that was he was good in Wink system, but Shane
Yeah,
Bowen.
that was. I quite like the upside in that selection, but it had to be with a creative DC, and we don't have that anymore. So didn't hate it at the time, though. I thought it was a bit of a steal. It could have been a steal.
Yeah, he just spits on the fucking canvas. He doesn't even draw.
Yeah. I mean, that hasn't actually been a good draft. A lot of C's, a lot of D's. I don't think that's a success. Like Neighbors, big win. Phillips, a partial win. Tracy
Theo
partial.
Johnson.
I don't like Theo Johnson. Some people like him. Evan gives him a B.
I think Newbin's the biggest disappointment.
I really can't stand it. I hated that pick. I didn't even like it at the time. I just think this guy's a little overrated. I think there were better safeties out there. Yeah, that was a mistake. The problem is a lot of these drafts haven't been good. They're not. That one wasn't as awful as his first couple, to be fair. At least there's some kind of talent there, but not enough. But I think this past draft has been a big win. Like honestly, like Scattaboo, that's an A+. Jackson Dart, A+. Abdul Carter with a better DC, that would be an A+. So, I mean,
I was going to say, even in limited time, you saw good things out of Marcus Bowe.
Marcus Bowe, I really like him too. I'm excited. I think it's a really good selection there too. I agree. I like the defensive tackle. I think he's someone that has a little bit of upside. He was one of the better rated ones coming out of the draft. So I think there was some talent. I think he fucked up free agency, but I think it was a good draft.
Yeah.
So it's weird. He's a weird GM. He really is, because sometimes the way that he behaved with Saquon was a disgrace, but then to come out and get Scatterbo is an incredible steal. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's totally fucked up the quarterback situation, but then he's gone and gotten Jackson Dart. It was a great trade as well. That was a steal of a trade. So he's a weird GM. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not flat out horrible. Like, there are some big wins there.
He's just not consistent.
Yeah. His roster management is actually worse than his drafts, I think.
Yeah. Well, I guess we could start closing it out. And I will say this. It's good to know that on his comment after the game, Deontay Banks says the Giants were sick after the loss. Well, I'm sick every time he steps on the field, so that makes it equal.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll start with Donald on final thoughts.
Well, you know what? That therapy section has cheered me up because I was a broken man 2 hours ago, and it's good to share it with my good friends here, and I hope we can do more of these streams in the future because love the boys in the Big Apple. Those were the best, absolutely the best, and the twins are the best. So much love to my brothers up there in Tennessee.
Luca, are you going to be the one that closes it out, or you want me to close it out?
I could you could close it out because this is formally your Big Blue in the Bronx stream. I'll obviously do the thing, but I just want to say real quick thank you to everybody in the chat. Quick plugs, real quick. Gangrene Chronicles, that's my Jets channel. 44 subscribers, we're growing fast. Tomorrow I'm going to release a rant on this inept franchise that I fell asleep halfway through the game because I didn't give a shit. Anywho, Knicks cast, the only team that could save us, the New York Knicks. Tomorrow night I will be hosting a preview show, season preview show, courtesy of collaborations with Lee Escobedo, who has written for The Guardian. He's also written for some articles for Bleacher Report, many different sites, talented writer, talented analyst. Also works with Nick of Time, and also as well Dylan Backer of Fireside Knicks and Empire Sports Media. Two phenomenal guests. Can't wait. And also on Wednesday, you will catch me and Donald calling Cavaliers Knicks opening night of what could be very special 2025-2026 New York Knicks season. So it is up to the Knicks once again to save us all.
Well, I just want to thank everyone for coming out after a very emotional game. Obviously last week I decided to put this off. And this week, I guess it was, with the Giants making history and the newest lows, it was an opportune time to. And what's funny is I wanted to get all my work done today. I wanted to shoot a stand up just so I could get home and watch the Giants game, and they decided they return the favor in not so great ways. But glad I got to do this. Appreciate every one of you guys. As I said, it's obviously a one-off. Maybe there are streams in the future. I can't say, but obviously my focus is my job. But I'm very thankful that Luca is doing his own content. Of course, that Donald was able to hop on and share some. I don't want to say grieving because nobody died. Maybe the team's spirit and maybe the team just does worse, but just sharing the anger and emotion with me after blowing a 19-point lead and making history in the wrong way possible. But appreciate you guys. Sub up to Gangrene, Crons, and Knicks Cast, and also Pinstripe Chronicles. So appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to you guys later. Peace.